Corin, I need a favor.
What is it, Commander?
The Admiral has a relative living overseas. It's a long story, but he can't see him himself. Something about if he travels on a ship and the moon happens to be out, everyone around him will wind up dying.
I can't possibly imagine why that would happen.
But we haven't had word from this relative in a while. He's worried, both about the moon and about this. Would you,
You'll give him a visit and report back with information?
Sort of.
Why, sort of?
Well, I don't trust you alone, so I'm sending you with partners. Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages,
Hello, welcome to all three of us talking about Monster Hunter Rise and how it is. That blank will be filled by the end of this.
Why was there a tiny gap between how and it is?
Who used editing?
The point is, I could have said how good it is or how bad it is, but we're going to talk about it and work it out as a group.
And plus, they definitely don't know whether we like it or not.
They have no idea.
Like how it is.
So, 10 words each. How good is Rise?
It's alright. It's okay. I play it.
Is that 10 words? All right. It's okay. I'd play it. You have 4 more. You have 4 more.
I am a fan.
Yes! I like it. Josh.
I like that it is game and am in love Rise.
I'm proud of you.
Actually, that's 11 words.
And now for me, because alphabetically it's obviously Aaron, Josh, and then me. That's how the alphabet works. Rise is very fun. I will do it with the Wirebugs.
Oh, you prepared that. You
I did, yes.
Well, no, I just look dumb.
How do you feel about the Wirebug to start off with?
I think it's amazing. I think it's one of the best things to ever happen to Monster Hunter, and I think the fact that you can do things like what's totally happening in the background is incredible.
I mean, my big thing on it is, I know it's different than Monster Hunter games, but I'm really big on movement in games. I love in-depth movement systems, and I love the Spider-Man games as an example for that very reason. And while this isn't quite to that level, this system has a lot of depth around just the movement alone before even getting to the combat side of things, and the combat side of things is pretty awesome too. Aaron?
I found that I fell in love with the aerial concept as soon as Josh put me on the demo of GU, like, what was that, 3 years ago? And you're playing aerial greatsword, and I was like, whoa, that looks really sick. And then you told me it's garbage, and I was sad. And now everyone is aerial build, and it's legit, and I absolutely
everyone
love
is
it.
Garbage.
I love it, exactly, except Insect Glaive, which is most garbage.
How about Wyvern riding? How do you feel about Wyvern riding?
So I was the one doing all like the research on it, and we found all kinds of stuff, like the fact that you can use monsters' unique abilities, whether it's like shooting a fireball or doing the tail flip, right, with Rathian, or shooting the laser beam of Mizu, and then that causing water blight, which then Josh looked into. And we have all these new effects on monsters because we can ride other monsters that we never had access to, other than the fact we're literally riding monsters for the first time properly, not just hanging on to them and have control of them. It's so cool.
Absolutely. Like I feel like some people don't like this, but I feel like it's just sort of like an excellent evolution of the mounting system, because if you just want that short interaction, put the monster on the floor, you can do that still. Just launch the monster into the wall 3 times, and then you can have that. You still get decent damage, and it's the same effect. But if you want to get more out of it, there's more there.
Also, it's just really cool.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, you literally get to fly. Yeah,
like it's hard to put that into words. Like having a stories moment, but in the real game. And the amount of moves you can actually make monsters do is way more than I previously thought it was. Like there is a
because
lot
of the
combos and
Yeah,
permeations
cool.
and in some cases you can make monsters do moves that they don't even normally do, or at least are new to Rise. Azeroth has a few. Though my main thing with Wyvern riding, if you join a random hunt with random people, is you can Wyvern ride the monster and then just run it around
Run away.
the zone for about 2 minutes.
That's a good
which
point.
I feel like is going to be really funny.
Oh no.
It's a good point. If there's one negative to this, it's the fact that people can troll if they're assholes.
There is a really important thing about like it being invasive on the raw gameplay, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, really, really good that Wyvern riding happens as a result of just doing the things you're already doing.
Yeah.
You know, instead of having to do something different to do it.
Also, in terms of time between ride starting and monster on floor, if you just immediately bash it into the wall, is shorter than current mounting times.
Oh, it's so much better.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's more interactive than stab, 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 stab.
Yeah, you have to
or
actually
attack.
pay attention and press the buttons at the right
aim
time.
them and everything. Yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Let's move on to weapons then. I'm gonna start this one just because hunting horn is the greatest thing that has ever happened to anything in my life. It just like it makes my day to launch the game and play that hunting horn, and I'm really sad that I can only fight 4 monsters with it.
Yeah, it's like they completely redesigned what hunting horn's meant to be. Like I used to see hunting horn as like it's like hammer but with a worse moveset, but a fun sort of music gimmick. And I appreciate it, but it just wasn't satisfying anywhere near as much as just playing the hammer was for me. And seeing it be this like bulldozer now, and all those like, it's not iframes, but you can really rush
power
through
armor
knockbacks and
stuff,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. So cool that they're doing that in Rise. For a lot of weapons, like Hammer has a mini version of that on its like flip spin.
How about you, Josh?
Sorry, what? I was just thinking about Greatsword.
Yeah. What's your max speed run time right now? Something like what, 7 or 8 minutes?
6 minutes 33 seconds.
Oh, longsword doing pretty good. We're still working on it, but we're at 4 minutes and I believe it's 20 seconds now. Might even be 10
22 seconds. Thank you. Those 2 extra seconds are important and need mentioning. Thing is, a lot of the weapons have gained Wirebug stuff, which is really fun and really cool. But simultaneously, they've lost a lot of the improvements that they received in Iceborne, which then takes them back down a peg. So I feel like about a third of the weapons are the best they've ever been. I feel like a third of the weapons are side grade as good as they are in
side
World and
grade is the
Iceborne.
word.
And I think about a third of the weapons have lost out a little bit, despite gaining Wirebug shenanigans.
Yeah, I agree with
Is
that.
my feeling on it.
Moving on then to the monsters. How do you feel about the monsters? Where should we start? I guess we should start with Great Azuchi, the proper new one.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Azuchi's the only new monster in the whole thing. See, I think Azuchi's a really fantastic entry-level monster, but I also feel like they really were like, he fights with his babies, and he doesn't. They just kind of exist and passively die. They try, but there's no proper sync challenge to it.
If you stop and look at it and don't fight the monster, eventually it'll be like, here it comes, and they all do it, and it's sick.
Conversely, Azeroth is also a basic trash bag monster who I love. That's not derogatory, but he's a free poking stick. But he is actually fairly threatening. Like, he has a good moveset, he has a variety of attacks, he definitely would kill someone who is new to Monster Hunter. He's the kind of level that you want.
Oh yeah, he carted me like 30 times in the demo now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the chief thing to mention here isn't the monsters specifically, it's how they have adapted them to hunters being powered up. That's always the most interesting thing. And in Mizutsune, you can see it with the fucking drive-by.
That's 100% what I had in mind. Like, every time we talked about Rise coming up to it, that we knew about the Wirebug but hadn't seen combat, I kept saying something along the lines of, I can't wait to see how they'll work around the fact that we basically have vertical dodges now. And that attack is perfectly the imagining of what I was thinking.
As you'll be seeing, there are a lot of attacks, specifically on Rathian in the demo, where she's using just her tail, and you're like impacting from above on like her neck, but it still counts as hitting you because her body's moving and it sends you flying. And it's really, really annoying and unfun to get constantly batted out the air when
Imagine
you're
playing
trying to do fun aerial
Insect Glaive.
stuff.
Imagine playing Insect Glaive,
by an attack that isn't actually using the body part you're attacking, and that keeps happening. I'd rather the monsters just be stronger to allow us to just spend more time not being hit out the air. Outside of it being not fun, it creates really cool moments if you can like just
slide
dodge
past
something
the
by
tail.
scraping underneath it instead of just kind of get generically bumped out the way. But then again, Monster Hunter and hitboxes has always had a
tumultuous history. So how about the Shrine Runes? I'm loving the Shrine Runes personally. It's a beautiful place.
very much two minds. For a portable Monster Hunter map, absolutely gorgeous, fantastic, open now, brilliant. Compared to the shit in World and Iceborne, it looks like a sand pit.
See, the main thing that I noticed about the game is like the monsters, the hunters, the effects are all absolutely drop dead gorgeous. But if you stop and you like look at a plant, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't stop and look at a plant. Half of them are 2D.
Poor plant.
Why don't anybody love me?
It's also not entirely fair to say it's been downgraded, because we shouldn't technically compare this game to World and Iceborne.
I compare it to GU.
GU.
I'm like, this is incredible.
It's the next in the portable line. It's not the next
Exactly.
mainline Monster Hunter. So
Precise.
it's And it's not many people that care about a downgrade in the detail of plants. I play
I love
Monster
it.
Hunter because I love the nature
I
of
love
it
it,
and how cool everything looks. Also, the actual arenas each zone's divided into are much more interesting and varied compared to all games. In the old games, they really were just flat
Absolutely,
circles.
yeah.
Yeah, they were
essentially.
terrible. Oh,
Whereas
man.
now there's corridors and an elevation and like houses strewn around.
Yeah,
that
they
can be
worked-
destroyed. And,
That can be destroyed by the
there's-
monsters,
Yes, there's
Yeah.
more interesting stuff.
They worked really hard to make it so that the Wirebug has access to more interesting ways to fight things. So how do you feel about the whole endemic life thing? The fact that we now cage endemic life, carry it around, bring it up to monsters, throw it at the monsters, rub it all over ourselves, see what happens. You know?
It's
I think
fucking
it's-
incredible.
I think it's simultaneously the most in touch with nature and the most cruel to nature Monster Hunter has ever been.
It's the most realistic Monster Hunter experience in a nutshell. Like
Yes.
we argue, oh, you know, that Mitsu is currently desperate to, you know, find a mate. We're gonna have to kill him. That's the law behind killing Mizu. It's like they get kind of agitated when they're in heat, and so we just kill them. We don't move them somewhere. We don't
No, we don't
do anything by nature. We just kill them. We kill them. We hunt them.
For
We
mating
kill.
season Mizzets. It's when one of them gets a
it's
bit too
mating
close to a
season.
village
Time to go
and
hunting.
it's a bit dangerous. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm farming them. I am farming them. I'm working on my speedrun times on them. I'm collecting my outfit. I'm dressing my Palamute and my Palico in the gear. I don't know what the hell you're talking
what?
about. I've killed hundreds of them.
You know what? I'll be real with you. I think I saw you kill one the other day. I'm almost certain it was female. I don't even know why you did that. They're not even endangered anyone.
Please don't tell, Commander.
I'm very disappointed in you, Aaron.
I really like that the beetles can apply the elemental blights too. I think that
that's
adds
so
a
sad though.
really
It's like, hey
interesting
Beetle, you spent a couple weeks rolling this ball. It's my ball now.
Do you just pick up the ball? Because when you look at it in your inventory, I swear it has the little picture of the bug too. So I like the picture that you picked the bug and the ball.
you
just fucking
kill the
love-
bug. That does nothing. That's just a normal
Well,
beetle
no, like-
slapping against the monster. I like to imagine the whale now does it scream because it's that utterly terrified at being caged that when you release it, it just oh god, and the monsters are like, oh Jesus, those hunters are at it again. So they come running to investigate.
Then we have the difficulty. The difficulty is an interesting one because I think it sort of goes both ways. Because the demo itself is obviously balanced a little bit tighter. Demos in Monster Hunter tend to be balanced a little bit tighter. But we also don't have any skills right now. Like, nobody has any sort of skills. We're basically working with stat sticks of defense and attack and just
Speak for
smacking
yourself.
things.
I have plenty of skill.
Hey, I have skill, but my hunter does not. But then on the other side of things, there's things like Wirefall that I think just make the game easier as a general thing. Just
I
existing.
don't know. I think Wirefall is very much putting people in attacks because they get knocked over and excitedly.
Well, yeah,
Wirefall
sure,
would
if
end
you're-
up standing there.
Okay,
and
so
getting
maybe
blasted.
maybe if you're someone who I may have potentially watched use Wi-Fall straight back into a beam of Mizu, and you know you don't think about what buttons you
That
press,
was
and you
day
just press
one.
them.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember. But no, seriously though, it basically takes you from the floor instantly, puts you somewhere, usually away from the monster unless you're Josh, and then you're instantly with your hands free to drink a potion.
What's the
so
thing
it's
is
never
it's-
been faster.
It's
never
both
been
ways,
faster to
too,
regen.
right? Because like not only does it put you instantly in a heal position, but if you're confident that you can keep attacking, if you Wirefall, you can instantly aerial attack. So if you Wirefall
Oh, yeah.
towards a monster,
Yeah.
like, you can keep.
Yeah, I love that. That is the ultimate greed, by the way.
Yeah,
to get
for
knocked on
sure.
your ass, take half your health in
Oh, I
damage.
do.
You're like, you know what, monster?
I'm not fucking done.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
So how do you feel about like the difficulty of the feeling of the experience as a whole? Then Wirefall aside.
I think it's fairly on the easy side. Like, if I can play lands for the first time ever and kill Mizutsune on my first attempt without kiting, then the game is quite easy.
I don't know, it's really hard to say. It'll depend on like people's experience with Monster Hunter. Wirebugs definitely have a huge impact and are something you have to get used to. We're people who played Monster Hunter enough for it to be like, the Wirebug, new mechanic, learn specifically that, and I'm
Yeah.
good. Added to everything, it might be a lot, and the fact that the monsters are now acting more like they're deviants right off the bat, you know, they have a lot more aggression to them, they have a lot more mechanics that you need to use the Wirebug to avoid. I reckon it's only going to get way faster, way more intense as we go. We're dealing with beginner monsters right now.
Hey, Mizutsune is not a beginner monster.
Mizutsune is still.
I've killed thousands
tier
of them.
2. Yeah, like There's stuff way higher grade than a Mizutsune.
Yes, but Mizutsune is Diablos tier. I don't need to tell you how many times Diablos kills people. I think the difficulty is right. I think it's fine.
I think it's good
You can
right
tell
now.
because there isn't a lot of people complaining about it. And if it
Yeah,
was at
true.
all even too hard, there would be.
Yeah, exactly. Like I did hear some people saying it, but like as days have gone on and people have adjusted to actually using the Wirebug in their gameplay, I haven't heard much of that anymore. So I think people seem to be generally on the same page that it's about right. As it comes to conclusions, then, like how do you think the experience as a whole is functioning? Me personally, I'll say I'm absolutely loving it. Like this just feels like the evolution of Monster Hunter. The pace has picked up so much with the addition of the Wirebug, the Wirefall that it gives you. The Silk Binds are sort of like Hunter arts, but actually like weaved into your what the character is doing more so. Like Hunter arts, my problem with Hunter arts was it just felt like an arbitrary gauge that you were filling up by hitting the monsters. Like, okay, but why is it a gauge? Why do I have to fill this up? Whereas in Rise, it's like, oh, the Wirebugs are my friends. I'm giving them a break in between usage. You know, I like the ideas behind what's going on a lot more, and I like what's going on a ton. I'm in love with it so far.
I feel like I'm going to notice it the most when February 1st rolls around and I can't play it anymore. And then I'll be playing World, and at the time I currently have 3 major monsters to hunt, and I've got to beat them, and I only have so long to beat them, and I wonder how much am I going to miss the Wirebug and Wirefall in specific. You know, how much is it going to be noticeable? And at that point I'll know how much I like Rise or not, and whether I desperately want to play it or not. And I think I will.
I think as a whole, it's fantastic so far. It's exciting, and I have the urge to play. But it's a new Monster Hunter game. It could be anything, and I'd have the urge to play. True. I think wirebugging is great fun, and in fact, the best way to say it is I don't think I've ever had as much raw fun in the start of a Monster Hunter game as I had with Rise. I think it is the funnest Monster Hunter's ever been.
I've been playing this demo every day.
Yeah, but my caveat is that at least so far with the weapons and monsters and builds that we have available, I think the weapons play smoother still in World and Iceborne. I think the flow of that game is still, well, smoother, as I said.
That's the problem.
A little bit of jankiness. It's like, you know, the old thing with the old Monster Hunter games being as much about fighting the controls as it is fighting the monster.
Oh, yeah.
With World and Iceborne, it's 100% you. With Rise, it's like 95%, which is still fantastic compared to like the 50% of old. But I think there's just this tiny bit of things aren't quite flowing in the way that I'm wanting.
There's a really big question. If Rise were to ever come to PC, do you think that it would be 100%? Whether it would be smoother if we're in 60 FPS and, you know,
yeah, that's
they
the thing.
made
I don't know
those
how much
improvements?
is down to the controls and the function of the game itself, and how much is down to the Switch.
I've actually been finding, like, especially because the Wirebug exists, I've been having far less of that issue.
Yeah, but the Wirebug papers it because you're in the air and that feels great. But especially someone who plays Greatsword, you notice every fraction of a second
It's tight movement.
that you're having to do extra stuff. And Greatsword in Iceborne just feels a lot more things are happening as I want them to than they are in Rise. But I also think that might just be a time-played experience thing, so I will reserve judgment for now.
All right. Everyone seems generally happy with Rise. I think our general thought is can't wait to see what the actual game is, and excited to actually have a fully fledged opinion.
Yeah, essentially. But I think it's a fantastic direction for the series, and I'm happy they're just going out there instead of just making another Monster Hunter on portable.
Absolutely.
This is exactly what I would hope for in a portable Monster Hunter game.
And to go off what Josh said, like I totally agree. Like some game franchises just like go stagnant over time. They just try and release the same thing because that's what people want and that's what people like. But if you don't get adventurous, then you can't have all of these fun moments like the Wirebug's
Well, what
giving us
Monster Hunter
now.
tends to do is they release a game that is called Monster Hunter, and every game is called Monster Hunter, but every game comes with its own little hook or gimmick. So in Generations, it was Hunter Arts. In World and Iceborne, it's the Slinger and the Clutch Claw. And when mounting first got introduced, it was mounting or underwater combat when that was its thing. And then in Rise, they've gone with aerial combat and Wirebug, which is quite a big one, but that is this game's hook, and it's a very, very good hook.
The question is, what will come into the next generation of Monster Hunter? Will we see Clutch Claw? Will we see Wirebug? Will we see either of them?
Tune back in 2023 when we're talking
Yeah.
about Monster
In
Hunter 6
a
on the
few
PlayStation
years.
5.
Yeah. that's it then, everybody. If you'd like to find more of our stuff, you know where to find us. If you like the video, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want more. Say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye. Here's something funny.
All right, that's enough funny. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay sweet. This is the brand new outro to tell you all the things that you do that we love. So let's start with something simple and say, oh, we love your eyes. When they're watching us play video games, we make a bunch of jokes that are kinda lame. Or when they gaze upon our failures as we try to kill the monsters or report important news about the Kingdom Animalia. Rage, Continent, Hollow, we're all here talking about the things you want to hear. So if you want to be the first to hear, like and subscribe and the bell and we'll cheer. Some of you are patrons even though we are all the noobs and you're the pros. There's nothing we can do to thank you. No, really, there's nothing we could possibly do. Goodbye.